This is our DPT Run Prep Flow. This is intended to be done before any running effort, and this is filmed in real time with real reps and sets. So you can just play this video and follow along. The idea with this video, along with prepping you, is also that there's no equipment needed, so you can do this wherever you are before you go on that run. So we are going to start out by warming up the calves and the feet a little bit. So Justin is going to hang on to this pole here. We're going to do 10 nice and slow bilateral heel raises. So coming up, and he's going to come up as high as he can off the ground to really get those feet into supination and start to warm up those Achilles and calves a little bit. The feet and the calves and that Achilles, those are your springs as you're running. So let's really make sure we do a good job prepping it. We are going to mostly go through one set of 10 for most of these exercises. However, if you feel like you need a little bit more, you can even do 2 sets. So nice and slow and controlled is a great way to warm things up. Running is going to be a fast and springy movement, so we're going to work up towards that. So now that we've kind of warmed up that basic bilateral heel raise, we are going to do a unilateral eccentric. So what Justin's going to do is he's going to come up with 2 legs and then nice and slow down with the other. And he's going to give me 10 on his left leg and 10 on the right. As we are running, let's remember, we are absorbing 3 to 5 times body weight every single time our foot hits the ground through that leg and those tissues. So eccentric loading, or that negative loading, is a really good way to prep those tissues for what's about to happen when you get into your running. Also make sure that foot's really active, make sure that hip is active. None of this should be painful, trying to move through as much range of motion as you can. If you've done these and you're really advanced and you want to try to do this off a curb, totally fine. But at a bare minimum, let's see if we can do this on flat ground. There you go. And whether you do them 10 in serial or 10 like alternating, doesn't really matter. But that nice, slow, and controlled. We will start to increase the speed as we go through our exercises here in a second. All right, very good. Next, we are going to do a forward reach heel tap. So standing on one leg, Justin's going to reach forward as far as he can and just tap that heel to the ground and come back up. So he's going to give me 10 of those on each leg. It's important here, he's reaching forward, but he's keeping that other foot flat on the ground. This is really going to load that quad, and it's actually going to load that Achilles and effectively that gastroc and soleus, which is what we want for some of that impact preparation. Good. As he feels more comfortable, he starts to let go of that pole and work more on balance. Running is all about bounding pretty much from one leg to the other, so your balance is super important, so turning on that system as we're doing it. Great, shake it out. That's 10 on that side, and we'll go 10 on the other as well. Good. Five. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so now our calves and our feet are a little bit warmed up. Quads are a little warmed up. We're just going to do a standing knee hug. So what he's going to do is he's going to stand up nice and tall, pull that knee up towards his chest, and just go ahead and give me, let's go 5 of those on each side. And you'll notice that he's standing there and he's pulling that knee up, but that stance leg stays nice and straight. So that's him really encouraging that hip extension. That calf, quad, and glute are all working together to keep him stabilized, which is really important when you're in your stance phase of running. Just kind of priming these positions, telling the body what's about to happen with that run form, reinforcing all of that, and trying to neurologically build you guys up and get you ready for running too. All right, there's 5 of those on each side. Next, we're going to go into 5 Birdpeckers. So Justin's going to stand on one foot. He's going to reach back, grab one foot, and he's going to hinge forward. So here he's getting a little bit of a quad stretch on that leg that is bent, and he's getting a little hamstring and glute and calf activation on that other side. Holding onto the pole, of course, if you need to, but if you can move away from it, that's also fine. Not too important. But really try, and if you want to, you can even see if you can pull that foot back behind you just a little bit to get a little bit extra stretch. But we're just trying to articulate through that hip. Looking pretty good. Should just get easier each time. Nice, okay, so we got 10 on that side, and we'll do 10 on the other side. Same thing. And what you also want to pay attention to during this time is go ahead and see how does one leg feel compared to the other. You might find a little difference or discrepancy here. It's a good time to just take inventory. Again, move through, turn on that balanced proprioceptive system, turn on that neurologic system, get those tissues ready for what we're about to do. So 10 reps is great for this. And 10, there we go, great. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start increasing the speed a little bit. This is going to be our hip swings. So why don't we start, you'll face me, and we'll just go 10 swings forward and back, and let's see what that feels like. So he's really reaching back with that swinging leg and increasing the speed as it feels comfortable to do so. 10 is totally fine. If you want, we can even then end up doing 10 crossovers kind of in front and behind you. Usually this just kind of feels good, starts to warm up that core, and again, it just gets us into the thought of starting to move a little bit quicker. Excellent, okay. And we'll repeat on the other side as well. He's trying to stay nice and tall the whole time, stable through that stance foot. Good. And crossing forward and back out. Nice, okay, great. Okay, so now we should be pretty warmed up. Let's get into some of those running mechanics a little bit more. So I'm just gonna have you start over there. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna go through kind of like a nice slow march and just try to sync up the arm with that opposite leg. So in that stance position, that knee's gonna come up really high. We can just do this in place so you don't have to travel too far. Good, so he's trying to stay tall the whole time.
There it goes.
And balanced, that's okay. Good, we'll do about 10 on each leg, just to really start to groove that pattern. Because in a minute, we're gonna add a little bit of speed to this, and we want it to be built off this foundational pattern that we've been working and building towards the entire time. Great, okay. Next, we are gonna finish with our A skips. And so when we do skipping sounds kind of funny, but it really is a neurologic lead-in to running. Also, that foot contact is super important because we want to think about that matching what we're doing when we're running. So even though skipping tends to be on the toe for the most part, it is totally okay to have that whole foot come down onto the ground. So I'm just going to have you do an A skip. We're just going to start in place, and we're going to do, let's go for 10 just like skips in place, and then I'm going to have you translate that way, and you're going to go off camera, okay? So in place, there we go. And so his foot's going down to the ground and making contact, and he's syncing it up through his arms and legs. Great, very good. All right, this time, start in place again. Let's go 3 on each side, and then I go ahead and just skip forward. Good, now he starts kind of translating forward And you can actually take that in and you can skip into your run and then just start working on your running pace and kind of pick it up from there. So that should be a nice little flow to go from just warming up the feet to getting that posterior chain and those legs moving a little bit, and then really reestablishing, reinforcing that pattern, moving slow and simple to complex, and get you ready to run.